the Royals back to even strength with 8:30 to go in the second. Buns handling the puck near side. We get a drop of the gloves. And with Peter Laviolette, an open ice hit delivered. And Steven Leonard will step up. And he's delivered haymakers by Laviolette. As Laviolette comes over top, Leonard now gets an upper hand. One jab to the backside of Laviolette. The two go tumbling down. And we get some fisticuffs here with 8:31 to go in the second. Laviolette overstop of Leonard, but the jawing hasn't stopped as they continue to bark at each other right point blank. And Laviolette with the hit will now give the crowd something to cheer about as he's the first one to his feet.
Welcome back, fans, to the ECHL Insider. I'm your host, Garrett Hunter. Excited that you will join us for another episode. You just saw our fight of the week. Boy, was it a big scrap. Two number 11 squaring off in the Nailers-Royals game last week. Boy, was that a good fight. Hope you enjoyed it. And we will have an exclusive interview for you at the end of this episode with an ECHL player, so stay tuned for that. But between now and then, let's get to some scores from last week. The Utah Grizzlies had an impressive 6-5 overtime win over the Idaho Steelheads. Big win for the Grizzlies, and they now are in playoff position in the Mountain Division. Also in the Mountain Division, the Tulsa Oilers, a dominating 6-1 victory over the Allen Americans, and we will be talking about this matchup later in the episode between these two Mountain Division rivals. Two important sweeps also in the Eastern Conference last week. The Greenville Swamp Rabbits, number 1 in the South Division, were swept all 3 games by the Newfoundland Growlers. 3 huge home wins for the Growlers, and they look to stay hot in the North Division playoff race. Also in the South Division, the Florida Everblades swept the Adirondack Thunder. Adirondack currently the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference. So 3 big wins for the Everblades, and now the Everblades are in the number 4 seed of the South Division, and we will be talking about them later in the episode. So let's get to the top 5 games of the week. The Tulsa Oilers and Allen Americans will have a rematch Saturday and Friday, actually, in Tulsa this time. BOK Center, the spot for this matchup, and it'll be really interesting. How did the Allen Americans respond? They were absolutely embarrassed last Saturday night in home ice against the Oilers. How did they respond traveling to Tulsa to take on the Oilers again? And the Oilers, can they keep that momentum that they had last week? Oilers looked very good last week, and they are in playoff position in the Mountain Division, but they need these wins, especially against a team on the bubble right now in the Allen Americans. At number 4, a South Division matchup between the Florida Everblades and South Carolina Stingrays on Saturday and Sunday. Everblades just barely in the number 4 spot in the South Division, and right in front of them, the South Carolina Stingrays in number 3. So 2 big matchups in the South Division between 2 teams that really don't like each other, the Stingrays and the Everblades. And at number 3, a non-division matchup, Wheeling Nailers and Utah Grizzlies out in the Mountain Division in the Maverick Center. This will be Friday and Saturday, and for Utah, they've been out of playoff position most of the season to this point, but have clawed their way back in. We talked about their big win over the Steelheads last week. They've clawed their way into the number 4 spot right now in the Mountain Division, but they welcome onto home ice a very good and strong Wheeling Nailers team who has won a lot of their last games. Nailers, one of the hottest teams, though, in the ECHL, so definitely a big test for the Grizzlies. And at number 2, Florida Everblades and Jacksonville Icemen, an in-state rivalry on Friday night. South Carolina will await Florida. We talked about that later in the weekend, but Florida got to take care of business against Jacksonville. They need to get more points in the South Division in the number 4 right now, but looking to move up. The Solar Bears right behind them in number 5. And our top game of the week, you guessed it again, Stingrays and Swamp Rabbits. Last time these 2 teams met, it was a buzzer beater for the Swamp Rabbits. As time expired in the 3rd period, they got a goal to knock off their rivals 3-2, and that's about as suspenseful as it gets in the last few seconds. This matchup on Friday night should be just that. Stingrays and Swamp Rabbits again, a big rivalry and a big matchup in the playoff race in the South Division. So we hope you'll tune into that one on Friday night. But now we have an exclusive interview with Orlando Solar Bears forward Jesse Jacques. Shout out to Jesse. Thank you so much for letting us interview you in this past week. We hope you'll enjoy the interview. If you haven't already, subscribe to our channel below. Make sure to like this video, and we will see you next week for more ECHL news. Hello, ECHL fans. We're here with Orlando Solar Bears forward Jesse Jacques. Jesse, how long have you been playing hockey?
I've been playing since I was about 4 years old. Started playing on the outdoor rinks. My dad put some skates on me, started pushing around a chair in northern Minnesota.
Awesome. What ECHL teams have you been a part of?
So last year, after my college season, I started with the Iowa Heartlanders, and now I got traded to Orlando Solar Bears.
Awesome. And what is your favorite moment so far in this ECHL season?
I gotta say, when I was fortunate enough to get a hat trick here in Orlando. Yeah, that was pretty special.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.